So I'm just right now listening / watching the H3 podcast with Hasan Piker about their leftist podcast. By the way, I'm fixing the camera at the moment, and I just thought I make this short impromptu video where I'm just reacting and just talking about what they're talking about in their podcast, because they had like this interesting talk about socialism. And I think, as I'm like a dirty capitalist pig, no, I'm basically I have more like a free market and minimalist state perspective, I would say. And it's so interesting how mask off some of the socialists are. And I don't have anything specific against socialists. It's just like I think most of their concepts just don't work at all. I just thought I'd make like an impromptu short video about it, and let's just see what the idea behind it is.
If you're in a socialist country, is there one party or multiple parties?
It depends. I mean,
because one party's scary, right? Can we agree on that? A one-party system is not a good system.
I think
that is true, because actually it's kind of funny, because most people criticize that in America there are only two relevant parties, only two, and then there are countries where it's even worse, where there's just one relevant party or just one party to decide from. For instance, in the East German, we call it DDR. I always forget what the abbreviation in English is, but it's just like the in East Germany from 1945 to 1989, we had in East Germany and even in Eastern Berlin there was this basically a socialist system where they actually had only one party. And then also we had the same thing in the in Russia, where the same thing. We had the Communist Party, and I think in China it's the same thing. So all communist systems and most socialist systems only have one party, and you can only decide between one party, and everything else is basically irrelevant. And you might even get in trouble if you vote for anything else, because there's like one opinion, one party. It's kind of funny that Hasan is already like being so honest about what exactly is happening in socialism, that you only will have one party. And his perspective is,
I think you and I would agree that we...
No, I'm just asking you. I don't care about the United States. I'm asking you about socialism.
I think that there are different forms of governance, and the United States is not that different.
I don't care about the United States. I just want to talk about a socialist
I think
country.
that no matter what happens, the state does what the state is supposed to do. You can either do it at the behest of your citizens because you genuinely, earnestly believe that like that is the best possible way of developing a society, or you do it at the behest of capital owners. And
oh yeah, that's funny. So it's like either you do like the socialist thing, or you cave in for the for the opinion and the wants and needs of capitalist owners. So there's only those two things. So Hasan is kind of like saying that democracy without a socialist totalitarian party is just impossible, which is, it's hilarious, because I mean, he's kind of being in favor of a totalitarian party.
And capitalism.
So you're saying you don't think it matters if there's one party or...
I don't think it matters as far as I care about direct democratic participation in local in local
one-party systems with socialism or communism has pretty much always been a catastrophe.
That is so on point. Ethan is so right. It's so funny, because it has always been an absolute catastrophe. And what Hasan is kind of saying is that he wants direct democracy, which is, I mean, that sounds great, because everybody would say that this is the best idea, or would be a cool idea if people could directly participate in the political process and have their own decisions as a populace, basically, which is something they do in Switzerland. Yeah, correct. Sometimes I get Austria and Switzerland confused. Yeah, in Switzerland they actually do this. I'm not too educated on how much they do it and to what extent, but they do it in Switzerland, and they basically do it in no other country, as far as I know. I mean, there might be some countries where there are direct democracies, but there are probably small countries, if I had to guess. And in bigger countries, for some reason, direct democracies will at some point will be abolished, basically. And I think it's because the political people, the political powers at play, they at some point say, okay, we got to get rid of this. This is too volatile. We can't have enough control if people can vote directly. So we have to find some sort of excuse to obstruct this process. And then there's something where it's like a specific war situation where we say, okay, we have to make decisions fast. We can ask for the populace because it will take too long or something. They will find some excuse why they, as the reigning party, will remove the right for direct democracy. And I think this will happen in most cases. It's actually kind of amazing that Switzerland still has this. But yeah, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah,
A humanitarian disaster.
no, I agree with that.
There's just so much risk in having one party.
I agree with that. I think that a multi-party system is obviously going to be better. My point is that it doesn't even matter if you have a parliament. It doesn't even matter if you have a multi-party system. The changes that are being made in one direction or the other are oftentimes incredibly marginal. And the differences are not born out of like the party disagreements. The differences are born out of like genuine material conflict, like even including like the Civil War. It's never like the kindness of people's or like one party of individuals being like, we are kind, we want to do good things, and the other side is bad and they want to do bad things.
So what I want to say was this then.
What?
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party, which would surely exist.
Yeah.
What would you do if that party started gaining momentum? And it was clearly like people wanted that route. They wanted that route.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because it's such a realistic example. It's just such a realistic example because people would see, okay, in socialism, it's bullshit because we might have like a controlled economy where we say, okay, let's produce this and that. And I think earlier, I actually didn't get this. I didn't record this, but Hasan was also saying that in a socialist system with a social economy, with a controlled economy, basically, you also have to make it seem like people have a variety of options when they, for instance, go shopping or something. So he says that he said the example that you have like 15 different brands of Oreos right now. And most of them are actually manufactured by the same company. And in socialism, you need to fake the same thing. So you also have multiple brands of Oreos, which is, it's so funny that it's so obvious that the people want to have choice and people want to benefit of a market that is acting like a capitalist market. People want the option between different brands, option between different products. And he actually says that in socialism, you have to fake that because people want this so much. And I think this will, I mean, we have seen it in the German DDR. Sorry, don't know the abbreviation in English. But we have seen it that they produced, like in one year, they produced diapers, and the next year they produced curtains, I think. And then one year you had the diapers, and the other year you had the curtains, and then there was always something missing because, you couldn't get diapers because this year they're producing curtains or something. That's like one of the classic examples. And it's so funny how people will at some point say, capitalism is obviously better. Or let's say, I mean, it's not pure capitalism, but like basically a capitalist economy is obviously better. And that's why we want back to that. So they would vote for the capitalist party. I mean, we actually saw it in Germany. That's why I think it's so funny to talk about this. Because actually it's interesting that people in East Germany wanted to go to Western Germany and get those products. And they would have voted for a capitalist-oriented party if they could have, but they weren't allowed to. It was kind of like there was surveillance on the voting booths and such. and you were kind of like ostracized or even maybe locked up or somehow removed from society if you voted for the wrong party. So, and that's something you have to do in socialism. And yeah, okay, let's see what Hasan is saying about that.
What do you do?
I think I would do what America has done, not to the same degree.
Which is what?
Not to the same degree as like McCarthyist trials or anything like that. But I would offer additional amenities to ensure that people are comfortable and happy, because I feel like
But what do you do if they're like, nah, fuck that, we're doing capitalism?
Well, if everything is given to you,
Yeah.
at that point, if every single thing is given to you, if all of your problems are solved, which I think we can both agree is not under capitalism and has not happened.
No. of course not.
If all of those problems have been solved, then there is no need for conflict of that regard.
But they're
It
saying,
should
no,
come
we
to
want
an
to
ultimate.
do, because they're like, yo, this is a free country, right? Well, we want to do capitalism. We think the market should regulate the prices and shit. Like,
It will
and we don't
always-
think the workplace should be socialized.
Okay, that's a great question.
And what if
You have
because-
to ask why though at that point, because
well,
like,
people never can be explained by why anyway. You know what I mean?
some people are gonna be dumb. You're right.
It's like,
So basically, Hasan will never bite the bullet. He will say, okay, people wouldn't want to vote for a capitalist party because in his world where everything is perfect, the socialist paradise, nobody would even want something different, and he would at some point just say, yeah, everything would be better anyways, and such. It's like such a bullshit idea, because in right now in our society, I'm living in Germany, but in Germany or in America, you could actually vote for the Socialist Party. You could vote for them. I mean, if socialism was so great, everybody could just vote for it. So, but they don't want the other way to be true. They don't want, if we are in socialism, they don't want capitalism, people to vote capitalists. I mean, he's claiming that nobody, he's basically claiming what's happening right now, just the other way around. He's claiming that right now we have the capitalist and social democracy system in Germany, and especially, but in America as well, to some extent. And he's claiming that in this system, people don't want this, not enough people want the socialism, and that's why they don't vote for it. And he's kind of saying that in his system, people would then love socialism so much that they wouldn't want the capitalism, which doesn't make any sense, because one of the systems must be preferable over the other. In my perspective, it's actually that the larger the system, the more ineffective socialism and communism are. So I could actually imagine a very small community of people just dedicating themselves to living in a communist society. I could actually imagine that working, but I don't see any way that a big country, especially a country like America, could ever do that. So it's completely absurd. So, and one of the two will be preferred by the citizens at some point. And I think in socialism, people, just because you have more options and you have better products, you have more competition on the market, people would want to break out of the socialist society and out of the socialist system. So if you're honest, socialism always kind of has to, at some point, force the people to vote for their party, vote socialist, to just keep the system running. Then you have people at the top, or like you have people that are drawn to political positions of power. They will rise up and they will try to get as much as they can from the system and steal all the money. Like it happened in Russia with the oligarchy. The oligarchs were just getting all the money from it, and just, I mean, that will happen. That's how it is. So, yeah, I think history will repeat itself, but yeah, I mean, we can, these people can dream and live in their paradise if they want to. But it's so funny. It's just, I will keep watching and just entertain myself by hearing like these weird, interesting socialist points. But that's it. That's just like an impromptu video right now, and probably will not edit it. I will probably not edit this video, and yeah, that's it. I'm out. Joe's out. Bye bye.